Hey, what's going on, guys? Brandon here with Texas Revving. I'm going to make this short and sweet. Probably going to title this video something in regards to fixing my GT350 exhaust. And on that, a couple things. One, is it broken? Maybe not, but there might be one thing that I'm not too sure, so we're going to figure that out. But the other thing is something was done to the exhaust that works, but it wasn't right, I suppose. And we're just going to go ahead and just get everything squared away today. 4 years ago when I decided to do a resonator delete, I had a buddy order me a part, and I just thought he would just order the right part, so I didn't, check his work or nothing like that. Well, turns out he ordered me these tubes with an X pipe, and when I went to the shop and say, can you install this, for the resonator delete, they were saying, well, what do you want us to do with the current X pipe? I'm like, I didn't know there was one. So we pretty much just moved the factory X pipe, took it off and moved it back, and now it has no resonators. And then they kind of just weirdly clamped on the factory heat shields. And so I remember ever since I did that, it ever slightly rattled in lower RPMs. Well, that rattle seems to have gotten a little bit worse. Based off what I read online, it may be, and we're going to find out once I go to the shop, it may be a broken exhaust hanger, possibly, and maybe the initial rattle was just the heat shields. So there's that big overall question mark. I mean, that rattle, that weird zingy rattle out here is specific. If I had the windows down and I was lower RPMs and lower speeds, and I was driving next to like walls or curbs, like in a neighborhood, for instance, it's a very nasty sounding rattle. It just doesn't sound right. So I think that might be the broken exhaust hanger. Other than that, it's just a weird way that I went about doing this exhaust. And so kind of my fault for not reading up and doing research. On top of that, I'll try to get some B-roll. You know how it's an oversized like heat shield type thing, the rock catcher, heat shield, drainage, whatever. And then the actual exhaust is inside there. Well, over the last 4.5 or so years, I've noticed that on both sides, but mostly the left, those things have gone lower and lower and lower. So if you go, directly behind the car, it just looks weird. You got these big exhaust like outlets here, but the actual exhaust is like way down here. So anyway, in short, I've got a Borla exhaust system that's a resonator delete. Cool thing with this Borla system is the Borla logo is super tiny, and it actually says Ford Performance on it. So it's a collaboration Ford Performance and Borla did. So this is not the car I would recommend you do an aftermarket exhaust because it just doesn't need it, but because I went about doing things weird. I guess if anyone were to look under the car, like I said, now they'd just be wondering why it was done that way. But after today, it's just going to have all brand consistency, I guess. It's an aftermarket exhaust, but it says Ford Performance on it. So I don't know, just for cohesiveness. But let's go ahead and fire this one up. I'd like to eventually do something about the valves closing right after it starts up, but I won't do a whole lot of before footage because I got plenty of footage with the current exhaust setup, and I'll drive somewhat gingerly just because we got all the exhaust in the trunk, funny enough. But let's go ahead and bring this to a shop and get this done, hopefully by the end of today. Try to replicate the problem here. Okay, yeah, now it just wants to sound good. Too late. All right, about to pull up here. So in case you guys don't know, I'm in Central Texas, so I don't really care for the Ford dealership touching my stuff anymore based off previous experiences, but I heard of this shop here, and apparently they do good work. It's a cool building here in like Cedar Park, Leander area. HD Motorsports, I believe. Anyway, they may be able to have it done by end of day or early tomorrow, so that's it for right now. I'll catch up with you guys in just a little bit. Wish I could have given you guys a cold start, but it's already warm. Let's go ahead and get some first impressions with the new exhaust. To get you guys caught up to speed though, it's actually 2 days after I last saw you. Dropped off on Wednesday. They were running a little behind, no big deal. I figured they might. But then all of yesterday on Thursday, there was a crazy weather, some tornado watches. I had a lot of hail actually fall at my house too, so they couldn't do a test drive, and they'd rather do a test drive just to get it heat cycled and retorqued and everything. So I'm cool with that. I'm good with professionals driving my car. I'd rather not have it joyrided at a dealership, but these guys seem super trustworthy and they know what they're doing. Good old Voodoo. Nothing's changed there. Oh yeah. Yeah, still a good old Voodoo flat plane crank. Right when I come off the throttle, it burbles kind of like it did before. So I don't know if there's a huge drastic difference. It's just I'm not getting the crazy rattles that I got before. By the way, update on that. Sorry if I'm going out of order. Yeah, so they informed me that nothing was actually broken. There was no exhaust hanger broken, but just, you know, like if you have a slight cough and you look up your symptoms online, you're convinced you're gonna die. Same thing with cars. I was looking up what sounded like crickets or like this weird rattle, a zingy sound on GT350 and 350Rs, and a lot of people were experimenting broken exhaust hangers. So I just assumed that's what it might be, but thankfully on my car, no broken exhaust hanger. So that tells me that more than likely that weird sound was just coming from those clamps from 4.5 or 5 years ago from the heat shields that were just kind of poorly put on. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it still sounds like a great engine. I mean, again, it never needed the exhaust. So for anyone watching out there though, who has got a stock GT350R, I wouldn't touch it. If you got a 350 and you want to do a resonator delete, I don't think you need this full, oh, hold on now. I wish I wasn't talking right there. That was a nice pop. Okay, I was gonna tell you that I don't think this exhaust is necessary because it's like $2 grand. And if you could just figure out how to do a resonator delete without it, that's great. But you know, this might have something to it once I get to know it better, but it certainly doesn't sound worse. If anything, there's a couple more pops, but it's so faint. Just a resonator delete's really all you need to do with one of these. All right, it is 2:53, but for whatever reason, my clock is saying 8:53. Every now and then this just craps out. 2:53, and it says it's AM. I don't know what's going on with my clock. It's not been keeping time lately. Low gas, of course. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds real good. I hope it sounds good with you guys with the wind noise, but yeah, that sounded real good. All right, so consider that a short little POV drive. We'll do a dedicated point of view drive. Haven't done one with a 350 in a while, but we're gonna go ahead and romp down some windy roads with the new exhaust here pretty soon. This new exhaust would just serve as an excuse to get some more 350 content out there. But in the meantime, you know, it's only 3 p.m. on a Friday. I don't think my neighbors will be too mad. Let's go ahead and give it a couple revs in the driveway here. All right, guys, well, in summary, I think I need to drive it more before I give more opinions, but I guess I can make it quick. Sounds amazing. I guess I'm getting a couple more pops than I already did with the resonator delete. So if you're talking about a factory exhaust compared to this, then yes, it might be better, but gosh, $2,000 better? I don't know. If you have a 350R, I wouldn't touch the exhaust, but a standard 350, I would just do a resonator delete. Whatever efficient way to do it is, just 2 tubes where the resonators used to be. It's hot as hell out there, so I'm gonna wrap up the video with a shot of Tucker. That is it for this one. Thanks for watching, and give me a shake. Okay, thank you.